The MMA universe was set ablaze as Dana White, the indomitable UFC president, took to the stage at an electrifying press conference to drop bombshell news that had fans, fighters, and pundits scrambling for answers. The energy in the room was palpable. Every microphone, every camera lens, and every ear in the packed arena was locked in, waiting for Dana's reveal. The question burning on everyone's mind: what's next for Ilia Topuria, the rising star who had just shattered expectations and carved his name into the featherweight elite? Dana didn't keep them waiting. With his trademark grin and commanding presence, he announced that Ilia Topuria would be stepping into the octagon at UFC 325 to face none other than the ferocious Dricus du Plessis. The announcement was met with stunned silence, then explosive applause and a frenzy of speculation. It was a matchup no one saw coming, a collision of styles and personalities that promised fireworks. Ilia Topuria, the Georgian-Spanish powerhouse, had been quietly dominating his division with clinical precision, an unrelenting pressure game, and devastating finishing ability. He was a surgeon inside the cage, dismantling opponents with a mix of striking and grappling so seamless it left spectators breathless. Fans had been eagerly awaiting the next chapter in his journey, an opponent worthy of his skills, someone who could challenge him and elevate the featherweight division to new heights. Enter Dricus du Plessis, the South African sensation whose meteoric rise in the welterweight and middleweight ranks had shocked the MMA world. Known for his aggressive striking, iron chin, and relentless pace, du Plessis was a fighter who brought chaos and intensity wherever he went. His recent performances were nothing short of spectacular, finishing fights with brutal combinations, submitting veterans, and proving he was a threat across multiple weight classes. His name had become synonymous with unpredictability and excitement. The prospect of Ilia Topuria facing Dricus du Plessis was the kind of matchup that made MMA purists and casual fans alike sit up and take notice. Two fighters with contrasting styles and backgrounds, each carrying immense hunger and momentum, now set to collide in a battle that could reshape the landscape of the UFC. But that wasn't the only shock Dana White dropped that night. In a surprising twist, Dana revealed that du Plessis had undergone a dramatic transformation in his training camp, switching coaches and completely reinventing his fighting style. The South African had reportedly left behind his old team to work with a secretive, elite group of coaches known for pushing fighters to their physical and mental limits. This new camp had honed du Plessis into a more versatile, calculated, and dangerous athlete, capable of adapting to any situation in the cage. "This isn't the same Dricus du Plessis you've seen before," Dana said, eyes gleaming. "He's evolved, and is coming for Ilia with a whole new game plan. This fight is going to be one of the most exciting, high-stakes matchups we've ever put on." The announcement sent shockwaves throughout the MMA community. Social media exploded with debates, memes, and predictions. Analysts dissected every fight footage they could find, looking for clues about how this fight might play out. Fans created heated discussions on forums, arguing over who had the edge. One thing was certain: UFC 325 had just become the must-watch event of the year. As the news settled, it became clear that both fighters had a lot on the line. For Ilia Topuria, this was an opportunity to prove that he was more than just a rising star. He was a true contender, capable of taking on anyone in the division and emerging victorious. His fan base was growing by the day, drawn to his quiet confidence, surgical precision, and the aura of inevitability he carried. For Dricus du Plessis, this fight was a chance to cement his legacy, to silence doubters, and to prove that his new training approach had elevated him into the upper echelons of the sport. His journey from regional prospect to UFC threat had been rapid, but some still questioned whether he could compete with the best of the best. The stage was set, the stakes were sky-high, and the MMA world was buzzing with anticipation. Behind the scenes, training camps fired up with intensity. Ilia was rumored to be training in multiple locations, combining traditional grappling drills with advanced striking techniques, sparring partners from various disciplines, and even mental conditioning to prepare for the unique challenge du Plessis posed. His corner was reportedly focused on exploiting du Plessis's aggressive style, aiming to use his own pressure and precision to control the pace and limit the South Africans' dangerous counters. Meanwhile, Du Plessis's camp was shrouded in secrecy. Insiders leaked that his new team had implemented a rigorous regimen designed to improve his defensive wrestling and gas tank, addressing weaknesses exposed in previous fights. The transformation was said to be both physical and psychological, emphasizing adaptability and fight IQ. As fight week approached, the hype machine reached fever pitch. Promos teased the intense rivalry. Behind-the-scenes footage captured heated exchanges during press tours, and fans couldn't get enough of the back and forth. The build-up felt electric, an all-consuming narrative of two warriors hungry for glory. On fight night, the arena was packed to capacity. Every fan, every media member, every insider knew they were witnessing more than a contest. They were witnessing history in the making. When Ilia, Topuria, and Dricus du Plessis finally stepped into the octagon, the air was thick with tension. The opening bell sounded, and the battle began. Du Plessis came out swinging, his aggressive style on full display, testing Ilia's defense and looking to impose his will early. But Ilia's composure was unshakable. With precise counters and relentless pressure, he began to control the cage, threading strikes and chaining takedowns that slowly wore down his opponent. The middle rounds saw a fierce back and forth. Du Plessis landed some heavy shots, showing the evolution in his striking, but Ilia's grappling and cardio proved dominant. In the final moments, Ilia secured a submission that forced Du Plessis to tap, sending the crowd into a frenzy. The victory solidified Ilia Topuria's status as one of the most formidable fighters in the UFC featherweight division. Meanwhile, Dricus du Plessis earned respect for his valiant effort and showcased that his transformation was real, setting the stage for future battles. In the aftermath, Dana White praised both athletes, hinting at potential title implications for Ilia and teasing the next moves for Du Plessis. The MMA world was left buzzing, already speculating on who would be next in line for these dynamic fighters. Dana's announcement, the shocking evolution of Du Plessis, and Ilia's dominant performance at UFC 325 combined to create a storyline that will be remembered for years, a vivid chapter in the ever-unfolding saga of mixed martial arts. As the crowd's roar echoed through the arena long after the final bell, the atmosphere felt electric, not just for the fight that had unfolded, but for the new era it heralded. Ilia Topuria had delivered a performance that cemented his status as a genuine contender, while Dricus du Plessis's valiant showing hinted at a star reborn, ready to rise again. To truly appreciate the magnitude of this showdown, one must trace the journeys of these two warriors, each forged in vastly different fires but converging now on the grandest stage. Ilia Topuria's story is one of quiet tenacity and steady ascendancy. Born in Georgia and raised in Spain, he brought to the UFC a hybrid style that reflected the diverse influences of his upbringing. His striking is crisp, technical, and devastating. His wrestling is relentless, driven by an unyielding work ethic. Yet what truly distinguishes Ilia is his composure. In an era where many fighters are known for flashy antics or brash personas, Ilia lets his fists and submissions do the talking. His rise through the featherweight ranks was punctuated by decisive victories and a string of finishes that turned heads and opened doors. But it was never about instant stardom. Rather, it was about methodical progress, honing every facet of his craft, and preparing for the moment the spotlight would truly shine on him. On the other side stands Dricus du Plessis, whose rise to UFC prominence was marked by a blend of raw aggression and evolving skill. Hailing from South Africa, Du Plessis earned his reputation as a powerhouse with knockout punches and an iron will. Early on, his style was defined by a come-at-me attitude, overwhelming opponents with ferocity and pace. But as his competition stiffened, so too did the need for evolution. The announcement that he had switched camps to an elite, somewhat secretive training group came as a revelation to the MMA world. Rumors abounded about who was behind this transformation. Whispers suggested some of the top coaches in the world were now guiding his development, working on tightening his defense, sharpening his strategy, and improving his cardio. The South African was no longer just a brawler. He was becoming a calculated predator. This transformation was on full display during his bout with Ilia Topuria, where despite the loss, Du Plessis showed flashes of brilliance that hinted at even greater potential in the near future. The fight itself was a masterclass in stylistic contrast. From the opening exchanges, it was clear that Topuria's precision and patience would be tested against Du Plessis's aggression and power. The South African came forward with a storm of punches, trying to dictate the pace, while Ilia weathered the early barrage with a calm, calculated defense. Over the course of the fight, Ilia's strategy unfolded like clockwork. He absorbed pressure, countered with pinpoint accuracy, and sought opportunities to bring the fight to the ground where he held a clear advantage. As rounds progressed, it became apparent that Du Plessis's gas tank, while improved, was being tested to its limits. In the championship rounds, the tide fully turned. Ilia's relentless grappling and control suffocated Du Plessis, who fought valiantly to escape and mount a fence but ultimately succumbed to a slick submission that underscored Ilia's technical superiority. The aftermath was electric. Fans and analysts hailed the fight as a potential fight of the year, not merely for the action, but for the narratives it embodied. The rise of a new contender, the resilience of a fighter reinventing himself, and the promise of future epic clashes. Dana White himself weighed in after the event, praising both fighters for their heart and hinting at a bright future for the division. Ilia's a true star in the making, Dana said. That performance proved he's ready for the big time, and you can bet we're going to be seeing a lot more of him in the title picture. As for Dricus, he showed the world he's a warrior. He's evolved, he's dangerous, and is coming back stronger. The guy's got a ton of fight left in him. The MMA world is already abuzz with speculation about who Ilia might face next. Names like Max Holloway, Yoir Rodriguez, and even featherweight legend Alexander Volkanovski have been tossed around, with fans eager to see how Topuria's skills measure up against the division's best. Meanwhile, Du Plessis's future is equally intriguing. Having shown he can hang with elite competition, his path back to contention could involve a high-profile matchup or even a cross-divisional foray, given his success across multiple weight classes. This fight, Dana's reveal, and the journeys of these two athletes reflect the evolving landscape of the UFC, a place where legacy and reinvention collide, where new stars rise as veterans adapt, and where every fight carries the potential to rewrite history. For fans, UFC 325 won't just be remembered as a card with thrilling bouts. It will be remembered as the night that marked the ascendance of Ilia Topuria as a bona fide contender and the redefinition of Dricus Du Plessis as a renewed force in the sport. The world now watches, waiting for the next chapter in this gripping saga, where every punch, every takedown, and every submission will be more than just a fight. There will be battles for legacy, respect, and the right to etch one's name in the annals of MMA greatness.